Welcome in to Steelers Talk Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. On today's show, we're going to be breaking down the latest Steelers rumors going around right now, including that the Steelers are now interested in trading for edge rusher Chase Young, and then also that the Steelers are not interested in Dalvin Cook. Going to be breaking these down here in just a second, but first, join the family here at Steelers Talk by clicking that subscribe button. If they end up making a blockbuster trade for Chase Young here in the coming days, we are going to have you covered with breaking news coverage live here on the channel. You're not going to want to miss that. And then, of course, we're going to be covering all 17 games of the regular season this year live here on the channel via our live watch party. So if you want to join our family here and you want to enhance your Steelers fan experience all year round, go ahead and click that sub button for me right now. All right, now let's get into Chase Young, where Jeff Hartman reported earlier this week, here just yesterday actually, that the Steelers are now interested in trading for Chase Young, the former number 2 overall pick out of the Ohio State University. And Chase Young is somebody that I'm somebody that just hasn't been somebody that wants the Steelers to trade for him. I don't think they need to, but he is the number 2 overall pick back in the 2020 NFL Draft, and he won Defensive Rookie of the Year in that same year, of course, his rookie season, and he tore his ACL the next season, I should say, in November of 2021. Had a very disappointing season in 2021 up to that point. I think he only had 1 sack throughout the entire season in 2021, which is not great. And then also the Commanders declined his 5th-year option this offseason, making him a free agent in the 2024 NFL free agency period. So, no, I just think that there's no way in hell the Pittsburgh Steelers should actually make this move. I think it's completely unnecessary, and I think there's multiple reasons why it doesn't work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here they are. Okay, number 1 is that the price is not right for me personally. I think that it's going to cost at least a first-round pick to pry Chase Young away from the Washington Commanders. I think a second-rounder might be possible, but I also think probably not. I think with the upside that Chase Young has, the Commanders are willing to part with him for maybe a first-round pick, but anything less than that, I don't think is going to get the deal done. And if I'm the Steelers, I do not want to be parting with my first-round draft capital. And then also, where does Chase Young fit? You got Alex Highsmith. You got TJ Watt. I don't think you really need a third piece in there because you already grabbed Markus Golden to be that third piece. You drafted Nick Herbig in the middle rounds of the draft this year. I think you have a really great edge room right now. I don't think you need another member in there, and especially if you're going to give up a first-round pick. I definitely don't think it's worth it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then also, Washington has an extremely expensive defensive line. Okay, they're about to give Montez Sweat a massive extension. They're already paying Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. So one of the reasons why Chase Young is on the trade block right now is because they don't want to give a 4th member of their defensive line a massive contract. And of course, Alex Highsmith is due as a free agent this year, and he's looking for a massive extension. And if Young and Highsmith are both on the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which one are you going to pay? It really creates a weird dynamic here in Pittsburgh if you go out and get Chase Young. I break down these 3 points here in a video that we put out earlier last week, where I cover the whole Chase Young trade situation, why I wouldn't do it. I'm going to put the link to that video in the description and comments of today's video. But at the end of the day, I think unless the Commanders are willing to deal Chase Young for far less than I'm expecting, right? Like a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, fine. But if you're giving away your 1st and 2nd-round draft capital for a player you really don't need and has inherent risk, because he just hasn't been productive over the last couple of years, I would just much, much rather stick with Alex Highsmith, pay him the extension that he deserves, in my opinion, and just leave Chase Young. And if he becomes a free agent next year and he wants to come to Pittsburgh, great. Bring him in then, but I think it's way too early to make a kind of move like this, and I just don't think at the end of the day it's going to happen because I think Omar Khan is a lot smarter than to make this move. So let me know down in the comment section what you guys think. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers trade for Chase Young? Type T if you would make the trade, or if you wouldn't, type P for pass down in the comments. This can be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here, whenever YouTube throws an ad your way, do me a favor and spend that time wisely by giving me a T or a P in the comments. So now let's shift to Dalvin Cook, who, of course, former star running back here in the National Football League with the Minnesota Vikings, has now been released by Minnesota earlier this week. And, it's going to be an interesting kind of situation with Dalvin Cook. I definitely don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be interested. Jeff Hartman, in the same interview where he said that Chase Young is interested, or that the Steelers are interested in Chase Young, the Steelers are not interested in bringing in Dalvin Cook to be their number one running back. Last year, he had 4.4 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns, just over 1,000 yards, just about 69 yards per game. Not great. He definitely took a dip last season, and now he's 27 years old. He's had multiple knee injuries to this point in his career. I definitely don't trust him to be a true number one back in the National Football League. And, Andrew Filippone is somebody that has wanted to go out and get Dalvin Cook. And, you'd be coming in here with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, and Andrew Filippone, somebody that I just don't think is a very smart man, wants to bring in Dalvin Cook to be the number one running back. And I just don't think that Najee Harris is inferior to Dalvin Cook. He thinks Dalvin Cook is better than Najee Harris. I say no way to that, man. This was the tweet that Filippone put out. Do the Steelers have cap space? Yes, they have $15 million. Do the Steelers want to run the ball? Yes, 50% rushing attempts in 22. Is Dalvin Cook better than Najee Harris? He says yes. I would say no. And then he says Steelers should consider Dalvin Cook. Why not? Well, I'll tell you why not, Andrew. We do not need him. We just don't. He is an absolute idiot for wanting to go out and get Dalvin Cook for this team. Now, I get it. All right, Dalvin Cook, big name, very explosive running back in his prime. But last year, man, just wasn't the best. And he's definitely showing signs of regression, whereas Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren are showing signs that they're on the upswing. They are younger backs. They showed some really great things towards the end of last season. And the Steelers just don't need to bring in another high-level back like this. And they definitely don't need to be spending big money. And it's definitely looking like that Dalvin is looking that it's looking like he's going to be a Miami Dolphin. Okay, like my colleague Will Scott likes to say, this guy's a Dolphin. All right, he's going to be playing in Hard Rock Stadium for the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion. I don't have any insider information. This is not a report. I'm just saying it really does seem like it's a really great scheme fit for Dalvin to go to Miami, and it seems like both sides are interested, so I'd be surprised if he doesn't end up in Miami by the end of the year and not in the black and gold. And speaking of black and gold, if you need some more of Steelers gear in your closet this summer, we've got a great deal for you guys on the Chat Sports website. We got a t-shirt combo here, short sleeve, long sleeve. And guess what, guys? For Father's Day right now, they're on sale, and it's a crazy price. $30 for the combo there. Not each shirt. For the combo, $30. I think that's a fantastic deal for you guys if you want to get your dad maybe a nice combo of t-shirts, or maybe if you want to give one t-shirt to him and keep the other one for yourself, whatever it may be. You can go to chatsports.com/Steelers combo to take advantage of this awesome Father's Day deal. So before I go here, I have some final news items on your Pittsburgh Steelers, some things I want to discuss here as we head into the mandatory minicamp week coming up this week. Number one is that former safety Elijah Riley is being moved to cornerback, and apparently he's been showing out a little bit in OTAs, where he's been playing a lot more in the slot, and apparently had a pick six in practice last week. So that's something that's definitely interesting and something to keep your eye on during mandatory minicamp this week. And then also on the DeAndre Hopkins front, he's pretty much definitely not going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, which is fine, but I really don't want him in the division. And now the reports are starting to surface that the Cleveland Browns, who were originally supposed to be interested in DeAndre Hopkins and pairing him back up with Deshaun Watson, are no longer interested in the former All-Pro receiver, which is good news for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, because I just don't want him in the division. Now, the big question still remains. Are the Ravens interested? Now, there was initial reports that Hopkins and the Ravens could be mutually interested in each other. But, man, the Ravens, they got a lot better at the wide receiver position this year. You still got Rashad Bateman, or you still got Odell Beckham Jr. You added Zay Flowers to this roster this season, which is definitely going to help them out. So you got a pretty decent threesome of wide receivers right now if you are the Ravens. Would they consider adding a bigger wide receiver here to kind of maybe play that true X in this offense next year. It would definitely make Lamar Jackson that much more dangerous heading into 2023. And plain simply, I just don't want Hopkins in this division. And I think the good news is I think he's going to go somewhere other than Baltimore, right? The Steelers are not interested. The Browns are not interested. Obviously, the Bengals are not interested. The only team that he could go to is the Ravens at this point, and I think there's better options for Hopkins out there on the open market. I don't think he's going to end up in the AFC North, which is a great thing because I still think Hopkins is a great wide receiver. Not just a good wide receiver, I still think he's pretty darn great. Last year, the numbers dipped for him last year because, plain simply, Kyler Murray was not himself last year when he was on the field, and then, of course, he had his major ACL tear, which meant that Trace McSorley was throwing in the ball for most of the year, man. So I really think that DeAndre Hopkins, when you look at the advanced metrics when it comes to wide receiver production, he still separates at a really high level. He's got some of the best body control and hands in the National Football League, giving him one of the best catch radiuses in the National Football League. He almost always leads the league in difficult catches made per season, and I just still think that he's a top 10 guy. Now, he might not be on the level of some of the higher level guys, but I definitely think he can still get it done for a team. So let me know in the comment section, where do you think DeAndre Hopkins lands among NFL wide receivers? Is he in the top 10? Let me know with a Y for yes or N for no down in the comments. That'll be it for me today, Yinzers. Really do appreciate all the support. If you made it this far, that means we must be doing something right. So make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. And until next time, Steelers Nation, here we go, Steelers.